Hello friends, Mali Pankadith here, CEO of the SOAR Community Network and co-founder of the SOAR Community Nebula. Our goal this year is to interview 1,000 champions of change, community builders, and change agents. And we are delighted today to bring you one of those extraordinary souls today. Mr. Carl Brown is with us. Carl, thank you so much for being a part of our global initiative.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be interviewed by you, so thank you.
You're very welcome. Well, I know that you interview lots of amazing people as well. So you're just on the other side now of the table. So I get to be the one that asks all the questions today. So it's my honor as well. Carl, can you start with sharing with our audience who you are and the work that you're doing today to impact your community?
Absolutely. I love talking, so I hope I don't run too far. But my name is Carl Brown. I'm the executive director of the DC Small Business Development Center, which is located on the campus of Howard University. And we've been here approximately 40 years.
Wow.
And so this has been a great institution, a great partnership between the Howard University School of Business and the Small Business Administration that has brought this center here. They've been here since 1979. Now, the good thing is I came here in 1979. Bad thing is not to the center, but to the university as a freshman. So, and the only thing is all of my tenure here at Howard, I never knew this center existed. And if I walked out of my office right now, walked down the hill and started asking students, is the Small Business Development Center here? They would go, I don't know, never heard of it. So we still got a monumental job to do to make sure that everyone knows that the DC Small Business Development Center is here and we're open and we're ready to do business. Now, what do we do? Simple. We work with small businesses and students on developing businesses and the community at large. We work with these people on their small businesses, whether it's business plan development, if they need loans, we work with them on their loan package, we do their loan package review. We work with them on marketing plans. Sometimes we even do marketing collateral for them, not often because that's not something they pay for. And we do research for them. We work with them on international exporting, international importing. We do so many things. And believe this or not, our services are free. Now, we also do a lot of workshops. Most of those are free. We do charge for some, like project management and QuickBooks and a couple others we do charge for, but most of the stuff we do is free. And when I tell people that, they don't believe me. It's like that whole saying, oh, I got $1 million check I want to send you. They look at it like that. They go, really? It can't be free. And all of your team have MBAs or PhDs and they're business owners. This can't be free. And then when they come in, they see it and they start utilizing the services and they start benefiting and seeing their business grow and develop and become more sustainable. And they go, man, this is like the greatest top secret ever known to man. And so again, we don't charge ever. I just got off the phone with a guy. He said, Mr. Brown, I understand you don't charge, but isn't that just for the first meeting? I said, no, if you meet with us the next 5 years, we're never going to charge you. So, we got new customers.
One thing that I want to also mention that it's not limited to businesses that are inside Washington, D.C. This is a network, this is a resource where if you have a business and you want to develop it, you can tap into this resource from all over the country. So I want to make sure that you reiterate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And let me be more specific. We have close to 1,000 offices throughout the country. We're located in Guam, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, and American Samoa. In addition, the Americas SBDC, which is our national umbrella, they have been teaching folks from Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, Peru, Colombia, the list of Guatemala, the list goes on and on and on. This thing is big. And think about it. If you start developing a strong economy in these small local islands, what you're going to have is full employment, a better middle class, more resources, so there's a lot of opportunity out there. And we're on the forefront because business development and growing good small businesses is what economies need.
That's great. Well, Carl, we can talk all day about the opportunities there, and I'll give you a chance to talk a little bit more about the programs itself. But the next question that I have is to kind of bring it back to your own personal life and your journey,
Right.
because we're not only featuring the work that you do, we're also featuring the imprints that have taken place in your life, the types of conscious leaders out there, the community builders out there who have impacted you and who have given you either a new chance at life or a new perspective to lead. So do you have an anecdote or a story or an example of someone or some people who have gone above and beyond to support you, saw something in you to give you the tools for success?
Whew, so many that it would take another hour or so to recognize all of them. I grew up in Rochdale Village, which is in Jamaica, Queens, New York, and call it a village is very true. There were so many people there that loved and cared for me as a kid. It was unbelievable. So I had teachers from kindergarten all the way through the 8th grade that lived in the community that really showed love and respect to me and my family. Neighbors, cousins, uncles, godfathers. I mean, we were a self-contained community. We had 2 shopping centers and 3 schools, 2 elementary schools on the outskirts, junior high school in the middle, 2 shopping centers on the outskirts in the community, 20 buildings, the whole 9 in New York City. Well, I couldn't walk to the store. If my mother sent me to the store and come right back, it'd be 2-3 hours because I would see so many people along the way. And they would always say, well, how's school? What are you doing? What are the things? Do you need anything? They were always looking out for each other. They were always looking out for the kids in the community. When it was just amazing. And and that's why I like to give. I always say, let me give till it hurts, because so many people gave me words of encouragement, just not just words of encouragement, but would just give me good advice, and they how to live in life, how to manipulate, well, not manipulate, but how to maneuver through life and how to be a better person. And so that, my community, I would say, like Al Gums would always sit down and talk to me for 15, 20 minutes. Ellis Davis, he worked with my dad. He was a golfer, great guy. He would sit down and talk to us. He had his own kids. They're brilliant. They're doing wonderful things. I mean, the community was so full of people. The Benjamin family, the Ellis family, the Carter family, the Miller family, I mean, the Harris family. It just goes on and on and on. And that's why to this day, I stay in touch with all of these people, and I love them to death, and I share my experiences with them, and I share my experiences now with my community back in Jamaica, Queens, New York. And I heard a saying a long time ago, you can't ever go back home. Well, that's true. I no longer have an apartment there, But as far as the love and the outreach and the commitment to the community, I still have that. That's 110%.
That's fantastic. Well, as you're sharing all these names and families and individuals who have shaped you into the human being that you are today, when you think of community builders as a whole and champions for change, what characteristics come to mind for you? What do you see consistently show up in these types of souls?
Leadership, leadership, and a lot of people looked at my dad for leadership because, they would see him going and coming from work all the time. All of his sons were doing great in school. We were in the best schools because we took exams to get into the best public schools and all that good stuff. Um, you know, Integrity, accountability. I'll just give you a story about my dad. On his day off, they had a maintenance strike in the building, and so they weren't washing the floors and the elevators and all that. On my dad's day off, he went into the maintenance closet because it was open and got the bucket and the mop out and went through the whole first floor. And we're talking about a 3-section apartment building. And he mopped the whole first floor and every one of the elevators. That usually is like 3 or 4 people doing that. My dad did it all by himself. No one asked him. And people thanked him. No one joined in with him, but that was the kind of man he was. Meals on Wheels, we had meals by walking. My dad would cook on, certain days, mostly on his days off. He would cook out of big pots, and he would hand us meals, and he'd say, take this over to Jim White's house. Take this over to Aunt B. She wasn't really an aunt, but we called her Aunt B. Take this dinner plate over there. And then he would make desserts and stuff, and he would make sure that they get a dinner and dessert. So before there was Meals on Wheels, we were doing it in our community for the elderly, and we didn't have a car. We used to walk and walk everywhere. So, and that was my dad's doing.
Well, knowing what I know about you and all these years of us having a connection and watching you shine in our community, it totally makes sense why you do what you do and why you operate the way that you operate. Just knowing now the story of your father and this huge community that loved you with overflow. And that's what's going to take to heal this entire planet. So you get to pay that forward. Now, as I move into this next section around paying it forward, how have you utilized your own gifts, skills, professional experience, and life lessons to continue paying it forward? How are you actively doing that today?
Well, if you notice, I always work at jobs where my clients don't have to pay for the services that they get. So I don't know if you can see, but over my left shoulder is like all of my degrees and all that good stuff are hanging on the wall over there. And so I got all that stuff. So in corporate America, they paid me handsomely. They took care of me, but now it's time for me to take care of the community. And I've always done that. So I've always looked for opportunities like this one where I can use my leadership and my skills and just give back to the community. And I'll tell you, it's almost 24/7, 365. I mean, the need is so great. And, my son said to me one time, wow, Dad, you just give too much. I mean, you on your day off or whenever, late at night, you're still talking to people, trying to help them out. That's what I do. That's what I do. Because the saying is, to whom much is given, much is expected. I firmly believe in that, And W.B. Du Bois had one, the talented 10th, that 10% of the population will look after the other 90%. And I firmly believe that as well, because I've seen what happens in poor neighborhoods and the lack of leadership. And I want to make sure that if someone were to contact me and say, look, we need some help, can you come in? I would be there because I believe in it. You don't turn people down that need your help.
Wow, Carl, thank you so much for that. I mean, I feel like I just spoke with your dad through you, knowing now what I know about your father. It's amazing the things that seep inside of us through watching and through, I wouldn't say osmosis, but just through modeling. And I just feel inspired to see that continue forward, especially in today's world, in our society. So I commend you on that. The next question I have, and you mentioned a few already, when times are difficult for you and perhaps even your family, when things have gotten hard, is there a motto or a philosophy or a quote or even scripture that helps you and empowers you to keep moving forward?
You know, I went to Brooklyn Tech in New York, right? And it's a specialized high school, and it's an engineering school, and they, STEM and all that. And we had astronauts and all kind of people, graduate alumni from it. The guy that owns Barnes and Noble, he's an alumni. We just named the auditorium after him. I mean, there's so many wonderful people. But in particular, my senior year, our motto was always finding a way. And I lived with that motto since then. I mean, because I was always finding a way to achieve what I wanted to achieve. And even though circumstances may have been difficult in the tunnel, very long and dark, I always looked at that, saying, and I said, I'm going to find a way. God's going to open up a door, a window. We're going to be okay. And to this day, he has not let me down. And we always find a way to accomplish what we try to accomplish.
Wow, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I really appreciate that. Perseverance, determination, creativity, innovation. That's what it takes to keep finding the way, right?
Yes.
You knock on that door, no one opens. You got to see if there's a crack in that window.
That's right. That's right.
So, Carl, I did not send this question in advance, but I do always like to ask, what does a better world look like through your eyes?
Where people can get along, number one. People don't feel that another group is getting ahead of that group. Where we can share resources. We have starving people, and then we have food where we can't even give it away. I mean, we could do so much more and not allow greed to get in the way of taking care of folks. Because right now, we are in the midst of what I say a greed run in time, where medicine is cost prohibitive. People they get a 90-day supply or even a 30-day supply, but they take their pills every 3 or 4 days, and that causes more complications with their health. I mean, we're going in the wrong direction all the way around. And we need to move back into the right direction of helping each other, sharing resources, looking out for one another, not worrying about who's getting what and who's moving ahead and who's not and all that craziness. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. If we can all work together, we'll build a better world. If we can come to understanding with each other, talk to each other. We don't even talk to people. People, we grunt and we look and, get aggressive and all that craziness. But if we would actually sit down and have basic, like we're doing, having a conversation, learning about each other, this world would be a better place.
I agree. I agree. Well, that's a part of our mission, is to open up these conversations where love is in the forefront, where compassion and empathy is spoken easily, and people are not afraid to be vulnerable, and people are not feeling like, well, I'm a corporate leader, I can't show up in a certain way. We want to open up that dialogue. We want to open up the perspective that whatever your roles are, whatever your title is, whatever work you do, is it for the betterment of us all? And if the answer is yes, we don't care how you define it. We don't care what products and services you offer, so long as that is full of integrity and that is for a greater good, so that all of us can thrive in this lifetime together. So I appreciate the work that you do very much, and thank you for all those years, what I like to call in service of the community, Carl. And so in closing, how can people connect with you, learn more about the Small Business Development Center in Washington, D.C. and all over the globe? What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, they can call me 202-806-1550. Go on the website, sbdc.org, or my email address is Carl, C-A-R-L, .brown, B-R-O-W-N, at Howard, H-O-W-A-R-D, .edu. They can always send me an email.
That's great. Well, good luck answering those millions of emails and text messages.
I love it. Send me an email. Let me know how you feel.
Thank you so much for being accessible. And again, I appreciate you for saying yes to this opportunity to feature you and to be a part of our communication strategy to highlight goodness in the world. We really appreciate you, Carl.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Wonderful. For those tuning in,
do that good work.
Oh, thank you, Carl. Thank you. For those tuning in, thank you very much for following us and learning about our progress as we target 1,000 community champions of change to feature and to share with you. Please remember to nominate yourself or someone in your community who's creating a great ripple effect for positive change. If you want to learn more about Nebula, what's inside the platform and the resource hub, please visit nebula.soar, that's S-O-A-R, communitynetwork.com, nebula.soarcommunitynetwork.com. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will talk to you very, very soon. Take care.